Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Master Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. How's everybody doing today? It's so nice to see all your smiley faces. It is a Friday at the time of this show. We do our shows live, and it's so great to see you guys here. And thanks again for all the great comments and all the just the wonderful things you guys have been saying and doing on social media in reference to this show on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. All at Jim Masters TV. You've been commenting and sharing the links and just telling us how much you enjoy this series. We started this again back in May 2020. We've done about 550 episodes live, 7 days a week, just about. Guests coming in from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, and internationally as well. We've had guests come from all around the world and viewers too, who watch us live, and then those who also watch us later on. We archive all of these fabulous episodes of our epic series here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So we treat this like a television show. You guys know I work in television radio professionally. So we sort of treat this as a television show that we're doing here on the internet for all of you with the sort of the old school quality of warm, freestyle, conversational sounds and vibe and feeling. And with a modern vibe and a modern twist of today. Hey, it is Friday, so we do toast all of you. We haven't had a glass of anything in a while. We've been so busy, but I saw that my guest has something as well. Little libation there. Just it's Friday, and we work very, very hard. So we toast all of you in style with our fancy martini glass, and we toast you and you and you and you. And again, whenever I do this, I always feel like we are in church on Sunday, and I'm doing this whole thing, and it does seem like that, doesn't it? Well, we bless you. It is Christmas. It is the holiday season. So we toast you in style wherever you're watching around the world. Sip, sip. This actually has some strawberries in it too, which is kind of cool, huh? Very nice. It's been a very busy, busy week around here. As you guys know, with my professional work in television and radio, we've been on shoots and radio shows and TV projects. And then, of course, this series, too, with our amazing guests, like the guest that's coming up right now, live and direct from Nashville, Tennessee. You know her from All My Children, General Hospital, Rules of Engagement, One Tree Hill, and so much more. The extraordinary Amanda Baker. She is, we're so excited that we've got her here with us, especially during the holiday season, because she has like an army full of family that are on their way to her house right now on her husband's side of the family. So there's a lot of preparation and a lot of things that have to be done because it is holiday time and everybody's getting together. And so she's here. She's got a busy weekend coming up, like we all do, holiday time. And we really appreciate her joining us again. She's going to join us here on the show. She's best known for her role as Babe Carey Chandler on the daytime soap opera All My Children, as well as her role of Jolene Crowell on General Hospital. Yes, General Hospital's night shift as well. Amanda's resume also includes episodes of One Tree Hill, Rules of Engagement, and Parenthood. And that's just to name a few things. I mean, she's been doing this for quite some time. She loves it. She's very passionate about what she does. Now, we welcome all of you. I see lovities that are commenting left and right. You can comment live right now. We're a very interactive show, so feel free to comment live. Also, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the channel you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV. We house all the episodes on our YouTube channel. So subscribe and don't forget to click that notification bell so you never miss any of the episodes, because we send out notifications every time we have our shows, which is basically all the time. And don't forget to give this episode a like and leave a comment for us on our YouTube channel as well. We would love that. Lots of comments. There's a bevy of comments already built up. You can comment live. You can also do super chat, super stickers, super emojis, all that fun stuff as well during the live show. And for those of you who are watching this later on, speaking to those who will watch this in the archives, we welcome you as well. And if you didn't get a chance to comment while the show is live, like it is right now, you can also comment on our YouTube channel as well underneath this episode. We welcome and invite you to do that. So, you know, we're very interactive and we love to hear from you. And if you love these episodes, just celebrate it with us. Like we're going to celebrate Amanda and all of you here. Happy holidays, everybody. Good to have you with us. I know it's a busy time, so we really appreciate you guys being with us here live on our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. Let's welcome Amanda live and direct from Nashville, Tennessee, USA. There she is, looking like $1,000,000 with a blue background, a fancy chair. She's got sort of like that turtleneckish thing. She got the memo that it's holiday time, so we got our turtlenecks going, sweaters.
Yes, I have my libation right here.
Yes, let's do our toasting. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Holidays, Merry Christmas.
Yes, there we go. A nice little red wine there.
A little red wine. Actually, Snoop Dogg, red blend.
Oh, very nice.
No, that Snoop Dogg made wine.
I didn't know that either.
Right now, and he also has a cookbook out. I only learned that because I had a white elephant party the other night, and one of the gifts that someone gave was a Snoop Dogg cookbook from crook to cook. So if you didn't know it before, now you know it. Everyone can go purchase one.
From crook to cook.
I just was dying laughing when I saw it. I thought that is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I think Snoop is getting domesticated.
I was going to say, so what's in the book? Recipes as well as information on how to pick a lock or something? Or?
I mean, I don't know. I wanted to look through it and I didn't get a chance to, but
that's funny. From
really
piqued
my
That's
interest.
A cool name.
So you can get it at Target apparently. So I might have to just go to Target to just look through it.
Just to look through it, right? That's cool. Right. That's a cool name for that type of. Cookbook.
He's still making it happen,
He's still doing his thing, absolutely, and as are you. I was talking about how busy I've been, with everything that I do, but you've always worn a lot of different hats as well, and you've been very busy. And how have you been doing? Obviously, people know you from All My Children, General Hospital, and all these other great shows, but and other things you're working on as we speak. But how have you been during all of this crazy time of, pandemics and economy and just the craziness of everything that's been happening? I mean, It is like a real soap opera for real, isn't it? In many respects.
It's been tough, honestly. I have 2 children, I'm married, have a wonderful husband, and when everything kind of first started, my little girl, who's now 2.5, she'll be 3 at the end of January. She was a lot younger, and just when I was at the point where I thought, okay, I'm going to be able to kind of like take her out to, start socializing her and all sorts of things like that. All of that got shut down, and so she was basically in the house, and my son, from one week to another, we didn't know whether he was going to be in school or at home or, all of the, remote learning and my husband, thankfully, he works in commercial construction. So thankfully his job continued on, and he was actually leaving the house every day because none of his jobs shut down. But I think there was one point where I didn't leave the house for a couple of weeks. And finally, my husband and I, we got in the car and we got out one day. We were driving around and I saw the whole main road that we live on was paved, like around the corner. And I was like, oh, when did that happen? He was like, oh, like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh.
He did that at night when you were sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, well, I didn't realize that. So yeah, it's just, I feel like it's gotten a lot better, especially here in Nashville. Everything's opened up and everybody's, restaurants and, just schools, everything just seems to be back to normal, so to speak. I don't know if it will ever be back to normal.
Yeah.
We knew it before, but in a sense, back to normal, where, there's not that sort of that cloud that kind of felt like it was sort of looming over, just sort of not knowing from day to day what was going to happen. So, but yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. But
it really has.
I thankfully have been able to work some during the pandemic and continue on doing what I love. So I'm super, super thankful for that. And
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, when sometimes when that's taken away, you don't realize how special it is, how important it is to you,
Yes.
that's gone. And then
Yes.
you say, oh, wow, I taking that for granted, because it's, it's something that I dearly love. So just very, very
Yeah.
thankful. Yeah.
It's, well, I've always been extraordinarily busy too with my
Yeah.
work in television, radio, and all, and film. And, I've always wanted to do a show like this that's, I'm calling the shots, I'm hosting it, I'm producing it, I'm
Right.
doing it, because I've always worked for, networks and
Yeah.
stations and production companies and everything else. And just wanted to, whatever we do, we have fun, we have great conversations, entertainment, all kinds of cool stuff. And a lot of poignant moments and levity and everything else.
Yeah.
So when the planes were not in the air,
Yeah.
May of 2020, we were supposed to be in Ireland and Texas and Florida on television shoots. I said, you know what? Why don't I bring in the television lights and do this, build this home studio and throw something up there, just talk to everybody as a host and see what happens. And then we just sort of rolled with it,
Yeah.
sort of created it on the fly, and then, fine tuned it, perfected as we go along
Yeah.
the way and make it better and better and better. But out of all of, like you're saying, the desire to stay connected,
Yeah.
you and I are both storytellers, communicators,
Yeah.
personalities. We love to be around people. We love to inspire people, entertain them as well. So to find the different ways to do it. And there's been a lot of teachable moments during all this too. What are some of the things you've learned in a very busy and demanding industry like these industries are, that, soap operas, which of course you're known for, but you've done so much more beyond soap operas, but even soap operas, still beloved.
Yes.
That's a lot of work. I mean, the
Yeah.
scripts are this thick and you have hours and hours on set.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to learn from all of this quieter time, downtime a little bit, some of those reflective moments in your life with your family?
I think I just look back and I'm, like I said before, I'm appreciative of, not only just this past year and a half, but throughout my career. I think back often to the job opportunities that I've been given, that I've been so blessed to have, and all of the people, the relationships that I've built. So not only being able to work, but to definitely, create and just continue on with those friendships that are so special to me, and actually work with people again that I never thought that I'd really work with. So just during the pandemic, I worked with Jacob Young, who played my husband on All My Children. We reunited and did a short film together. So you never know, and I tell people this all the time. Always treat people with respect,
Yes,
and love, and
absolutely.
you never know when that circle may come
Shrink.
full again.
Yes,
And
right.
and you may run into them or work with them, or who knows, what may happen. So
Especially in this industry, you end up working with them again, and the
exactly,
person that was pulling cable is now the executive producer of the project. So
exactly, absolutely.
yeah,
So not only your fellow actors, but the directors, the producers, the writers,
takes a
the
village.
behind the scenes, the craft, like the craft service person. I mean, you never know. And so I've always just my mother always taught me. I'm from South Carolina. She'd always say to me, pretty is as pretty does. So you can be pretty on the outside and think that that's all you need, but if you're not pretty on the inside, basically kind, generous, loving, you treat others with respect, the outside part doesn't matter.
Yes.
So because it
That's the
radiates.
beautiful things that she taught you early
Yeah,
on, huh?
she did. And she said that so much to me that I actually have it in my daughter's nursery, like on the wall, framed in a saying, because that's something that I'm going to teach her. So, but I just, it's something that I've really always lived by, and hope that, people will, take that from my relationships with them. So yeah, I look back a lot on my past professional you know, jobs and just everybody that I've been able to work with. Just super thankful.
Absolutely. How'd you first get into it? What was your entree into the world of acting
Yes.
and television?
Well, I never thought that I would become a professional actress. I was very much a homebody, and I went to the University of South Carolina, and I did not study acting, although I always did it on the side. It was always sort of a um, I knew that I had this creative outlet and this pursuit in me to want to perform in some way because I also love to sing. And so it was after I graduated from college that I was working at a real estate company, and there was this photographer that came in that did a lot of the photography for like the magazines for
Yeah.
for the real estate company, and
Hmm.
he also shot local commercials for just around Charleston. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. And
Charleston,
so
beautiful area. Yeah.
yes, yes. And so he was going to be doing a commercial for a local grocery store. And he came up to me one day and said, "Hey, I'm actually looking for the scene is going to be on the beach, and we're just going to have like families and people out there, running around and, just having fun." And he's like, I really need someone. Do you think that you'd be able to basically be an extra?" And I was like, sure, and then from there, I met a girl on set, and she was with an agency from Charleston. And it just, from there, just kind of started rolling. And then I started to travel to North Carolina for little bit parts, One Tree
Nice.
Hill, um,
Yeah.
which is, it's about a 3.5 hour drive. But then it kind of started to become just slow moving steps. And I'd say probably a few years into that, I was having a conversation with my agent, and she said that New Orleans was sort of like the big and upcoming southeastern location, and she had developed some really good relationships with a lot of the casting directors there. And she said, if you ever wanted, were interested in moving there, I think that you could book a lot of jobs. I'm like, New Orleans, like I'm really comfy cozy right here where I
Yeah.
am. Like, I'm not sure that I really want to. I still was holding on tight to just wanting to live sort of this nice little comfortable existence, And but I think God had something else planned. So I ended up moving to New Orleans, and just signed a 6-month lease because I didn't want to lock myself in for too long.
Right.
So I ended up booking a few TV movies and
That's funny that I did that too when I
oh,
first
did
moved to a
you?
specific area and I was offered a position to host a show. I said, I'm going to do it for 6 months because
Yeah,
I really want to do that other thing, but this opportunity came
right.
and I'm going to help. And sometimes the 6 months goes beyond six
You,
months.
you never know, right? And so from that point, it just continued to grow. And then I finally realized if I really wanted to pursue it as a career, as a full-time career, that I needed to move to Los Angeles. And so that 2005, I was in New Orleans, and then 2006, I moved to Los Angeles. And that's kind of where all of the meatier, bigger roles started to come about.
What was the very first one that came your way that really was a pivotal one for you that sort of launched this whole trajectory of people discovering your talent and wanting you to be a part of their projects and productions, Amanda?
It was General Hospital Night Shift. My mom had called me up one day, and she's like, Mark Teschner. Mark Teschner is the casting director for General Hospital. And she's like, I found out that he is doing a workshop that you need to sign up for. And my mom,
Your mother is a great investigative detective.
she is
I found out.
she is an investigative detective.
Yeah,
Her intuition is like beyond. I mean, it's crazy. Just a lot of the things that she's told me in
that
life
is
that have
cool.
just come to pass.
Panned out. Yeah, intuitive.
Very. And so she said, I would look into it if I were you, because I think that it would be beneficial for you. And so I'm thinking, oh, casting director workshop, like, okay, I'm not really feeling it very much, but I said, okay, you know what, I'll sign up for it. We'll just see what happens. And lo and behold, I I signed up for this workshop, and Mark Teschner has got to be one of the most talented people I've ever met. The class was just phenomenal. I think it was like a 4 or 5 week class, and he really pushes you. And all of the material that we used were from the show. And, of course, we're getting a lot of dialogue, and, he just really invests in every single person in the class. And
Absolutely. Yes.
from that class, basically, he started calling me in for some auditions, which I never thought would happen. But he started calling me in for auditions for the show. Well, at the time, they were, deciding to do this spinoff, General Hospital Night Shift. And it was a 13-episode series that they were going to air on the SoapNet channel. And it was the first thing that they had ever really done like that, as far as like in the soap world. And so when I got the script, I really wasn't sure what it was all about. I knew it had something to do with a spinoff, but I didn't really know what it was going to look like. But anyway, I went through, I think, 3 or 4 rounds of auditions, all just, super intense and just nerve wracking, and the whole deal. And
do you remember the very first audition? What was needed? What you had to do?
Yeah, well, I just met with Mark the very first audition, and I was auditioning for my character who I played on the show. Her name was Jolene.
Yeah.
And I really knew no information about her other than the fact that she was going to be a nurse. I didn't know her background. I didn't know anything, basically, but I was playing the scene as sort of like this sweet girl next door, helpful nurse, that was really, caring. And so I remember going in and reading with him, and I think he gave me a couple adjustments, and I read it again. And a couple days later, I found out that I had a second audition. In the second audition, I went in, and there were a couple of other people in the room. I think one of the producers and one of the writers, and did the same thing I did before. And by the third audition, when I walked in the room, it was pretty much probably there were like 5, 6, 7 people in the room. And of course, my heart like sinks to my stomach, and I'm, just freaking out. But I keep thinking, just do what you did before. You can do this. And I remember sitting down and reading through it once. And then the second time I read through it, they said, okay, now we want you to read the scene as if you're a killer. And I'm like, oh, come again?
Yeah. So what did you call upon to be able to foster that?
I mean, they were like, take as much time as you need. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like
take as much time as you need.
Yeah, and they're all staring at me, and of course I'm like, well, I can't take as much time as I really want.
Yeah.
But the first thought in my mind was, okay, if I'm playing a killer, if they want me to read this as a killer, I still have to stay somewhat composed.
Yes.
In the scene.
Yes.
Because I knew what the dialogue was. I said, but there's got to be some sort of underlying deviousness. There's got to be some sort of underlying darkness, in there. And I don't know what came over me, but I remember going through the scene. I don't know exactly. It was sort of like when I left, I was like, what just happened? I couldn't really remember like what I did. And so I'm like, did I bomb it? Was it just horrible? But I remember thinking those things right before I started to read the scene. And so I think I waited probably a week, and I was just, I would call my mom.
You nailed it, didn't you?
Well, I guess I
guess I nailed it.
I don't know for sure if I nailed it, but
but you were rather convincing.
I got the card. They called like a week later, and I remember calling my mom every day up until that point. And I'm really close with my mom, and I was like, I haven't heard anything. I probably didn't get it. I think I blew it. Like they just, and I'm just driving myself crazy. And finally, a week later, I got the call that I got the part, and that was for me the role that was sort of the turning point for me and in my career. I was working at a restaurant at the time, waiting tables, and I was not going to be able to work. I was going to have to quit so I could, do the show. So it was little things like that I was, changes in my life where I was like, oh wow, I actually don't have to work at the restaurant anymore. I can actually like do this,
You're right.
And
Now
so
now I can afford to eat at the restaurant.
yeah, now can I? Yes, exactly. I might actually even be able to afford to pay my rent and all the bills. Maybe not every single thing, but I mean, I can. I think I'm in a better place. So, yeah. So that was the start, I would say, of being on a show, as a series regular and working as an actor, regularly. I didn't know what
Yeah.
that felt like before. So
Yeah.
it was definitely, I'd say that was the role, that was the turning point for me.
That's incredible. So, having that experience happen like that, what did that lead to next for you?
Well, before the series was over, I think we were filming episode 10 or 11. There were 13 episodes in the season. I got a call from my agent and they said, hey, they ABC Daytime wants to know if you would be interested in reading for a part on All My Children. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Because I knew there was going to be a season 2 on Night Shift. And so I thought, well, hey, it won't hurt to read for the part, even if I don't get it. I still am very thankful to kind of have this going on Night Shift. And so I had to fly to New York because All My Children was filming in New York at the time. And I fortunately was able just to fly in and do a screen test. And it was only because I was already on an ABC show. I think if not for that, I would have to go through the process of
The
audition.
whole thing, right?
Yeah. And because I was filming the show, so they basically flew me in, and I did a screen test with Jacob Young and with Bobby Eakes, who played my mother on the show. And I grew up watching Bobby Eakes on Bold and Beautiful, and so
Oh yeah.
and Jacob, who was on Bold and Beautiful for a while, and all I could think was, this is crazy.
Am I in a dream sequence?
Yeah, I
Wake
mean,
me up,
this
pinch me,
guy's gonna
slap
be
me. I
playing
mean,
like,
am I?
yeah,
Yeah. Is
it
this
was
real?
just so surreal. And but I remember basically flying in the evening before, sleeping, waking up the next day, doing the screen test, and then flying out that afternoon. So it was super, super quick. And I really didn't know how I felt at the time about, getting on the show, because I was happy with where I was too. So I think for me, I didn't feel a ton of pressure,
Yeah.
which I think helped, because I know a lot of times when in the past, when I felt a lot of pressure to prove myself with something, it doesn't necessarily go the way that I want it to.
It's because it's the overthinking, it's the
Yeah,
trying to make it perfect and have it. And
exactly.
when you just go au natural,
Yes.
that's when
Yes.
things are really golden, right? And
Yes.
and it takes us time. I've had to learn that too.
Yeah.
When you're just coming out of the gate, college, school, whatever, you think everything has to be a certain way, and then you realize just being authentic and natural and just letting it roll can be more relatable than having everything sort of exact and every single I dotted and every T crossed,
Absolutely. It's so true.
and you learn that along the way.
You really do. And I was in my 20s at the time, so I was still
Yeah.
learning a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
still learning a lot about the industry that I just didn't know about. But I
And
will
trying
say,
to please and,
yes, trying
please
to
them
please.
all and
Oh,
want to get rehired and, you're proving yourself. Those are the
yeah.
proving yourself years,
Oh,
right? Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And So I will say though that Jacob and Bobby, they made it easy as well. And I think because I was able to screen test and be in the scenes with them versus just me
Yeah.
on a camera,
And they saw something in you. They wanted you to succeed.
they did, and they made it so much easier and just more believable for me to be able to play out the role.
Yeah.
So I was so thankful for that too, because I know a lot of times when it's just you and a camera, it's harder. It's harder to act out those scenes when you don't actually have the person with you that can provide, the chemistry or the dynamic that you need.
Tell us about that process too, the actual shooting process. Because, when people watch any of these shows, whether they're soap operas or just regular, television programs, they think that everything is always shot in the way that you're seeing it. But sometimes, even with movies, sometimes the end is shot before the beginning.
Yes.
This scene is shot before the scene that would actually be aired prior. Things are changed on the spot. There's so much give and take and swift alteration that happens,
Absolutely.
where when you watch it, it looks like everything was so seamless. But
Yeah.
to get it to be that way, heroic measures are happening behind the scenes, right?
Oh my goodness. The people that work behind the scenes, especially from what I saw on soaps, I came in one morning and all that were on a soundstage, and some of the prop guys were asleep on one of the beds because they didn't leave from the night before. Because
Right.
they had to stay up all night to change a lot of the scenes around, on the soundstage
Yes.
to have it ready for the next day. And I thought, wow, these guys are like rock stars.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a process that really like no other that I've ever experienced, because soaps are filmed year round.
Hmm.
They, of course, they take a week off here, a couple weeks off there, but it's nothing like on a TV show where they have a hiatus, and they
Right.
off for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And
5 days a week to the soaps. Yeah.
a week
Ongoing.
ongoing. And the scripts, are pretty meaty with dialogue. There's not a lot of empty space in those shows. And so,
And anything can happen too. Sometimes, your character can suddenly go into a whole other arena that you're
yes,
not even prepared for. And all of a sudden, there it is.
yeah, and you're
Just
not.
anything can happen.
Oh yeah, I mean anything can happen. I mean, as I well know, I mean it's
That's a
one
cool shot.
minute. Thank you. Yeah, I was dying in that shot, and
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Your character can go in any direction. And
absolutely.
tell the audience what this is from and what they're seeing.
This is from All My Children. That's Jacob Young, who played my husband. We had a little boy on the show,
Yeah.
and basically a tornado swept through Pine Valley,
Mm.
and I was crushed by all the debris, that
Hmm.
fell, and so I was rushed to the hospital, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was basically, I think, internal bleeding, basically. So I knew that I was dying, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a scene where we're having a moment together. Yeah.
Now, what, people probably are remembering seeing, that very poignant scene.
Yes.
When you're tasked with doing a scene like that many times can be very relatable to people. There's always loss. There's things
Yeah.
that go on in our lives.
Yeah.
What were you calling upon? How were you able to do that scene? Because, that's very deep.
Yeah.
It's very emotional. You're staying true to the character. So people have been following that character for
Yeah.
a good long time, and they're feeling the emotion that you're portraying. They're at home watching with their Kleenex,
Yeah.
rooting for you, feeling the pain. What is that like? And as you're performing those scenes, where do you go? What do you conjure up within you to be able to pull that off?
Well, for me, I knew that my time was ending on the show, and so I was already very emotional about that, because I loved the relationships that I had formed on the show, and just being able to work and have that experience. It was all very emotional for me. And Jacob and I had formed a close bond within our roles, and so for him it was also very emotional. And so the both of us, and the little boy that, well, actually they were twins. I shouldn't say little boy, they were twins that were playing my son. They brought him in a lot of the scenes when I was in the hospital, and every time they would bring him in and we'd have to act these scenes out, just the energy of it was for me. I just kept thinking, like, I'm leaving, like this is coming to an end. And so the emotion for me was just already really raw. So I didn't really have to draw from very deeply at all to try to like be emotional or cry or anything, because all the tears that I cried in those scenes
were real tears of
I've cried fake tears, many fake tears, but those were all real tears. And so it wasn't very difficult, because I just was really sad.
because you were feeling it.
I was feeling it. Yeah. And Jacob helped because he was feeling it too. And he knew my time was coming to an end. And it was just, it was emotional. So it was definitely bittersweet, because I was proud of the work that we did. I was proud of the scenes that we did. But at the flip side, I was sad that it was, going to come to an end.
Is it hard sometimes? Are you ever saying to yourself, but wait, why? I was hoping she was going to do this, and hoping this character was going to go here, and we were going to build this house and go to Grand Canyon together and all these things. That's got to be an interesting feeling.
It is. And I would be lying if I said that I was totally okay with it. I was devastated, because, you sign a 4-year contract, and basically, but within those 4 years, it's like you're saying to them, I'm committed to you for 4 years, but they're not saying to you, we're committed to you for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know within those years what's going to happen, And so I remember they called me in probably about a month, maybe a little more than a month before I realized what was going to happen. And they told me, they were very, very sweet. I sat down with one of the executive producers, and she said, we're going to be having a tornado come through. The writers were trying to figure out, like, we want to have a very dramatic death with one, if not two, of the characters, and your name is on the list. And I was just like, I mean, I just
got here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh, so, but
can it be just a light wind?
Exactly. Like, am I coming back as a ghost for 3 years? Because I could totally do that.
Because that does happen too, right? The evil twin.
Yeah. Oh, the evil twin. Yeah. So, but yeah, I was devastated. And I, it was just one of those experiences where it was my first real loss. I felt like
something you were invested in emotionally, professionally,
career wise, for me, that felt like just was kind of taken. And, I knew in the back of my head that in this industry, things like that happen all the time.
Fickle. It's a very fickle industry.
Yeah. People lose out on roles. People, it happens all the time, but it still didn't take away, from the emotions of it, and the, just what I was feeling of, really wanting to stay and kind of continue to prove myself as an actor.
Right, exactly.
I felt like there was so much more that I wanted to do, and so much more I felt like I could do with the character. But such is life, and it came to an end. But nonetheless, I would do it all over again if I knew it was gonna turn out that way, because I feel like I learned.
How many years did you do it?
I was there for about 1.5 years.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I did the night shift for about, it was close to a year. But yeah, so it was short-lived as far as, what I, wanted it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Merlin goes, writers.
Yeah, that's it. It's the writer.
Wow.
And it's spot on, because I think we had just gotten a brand new set of writers. And a lot of times when that happens, you can kind of tell a little bit when you start reading the script. You're like, wait a second, like,
well, yeah,
you start to get used to how they write you, and what you
yes,
say, and your little, the things that you, you know, the actions you do and things like that.
yeah.
So
No
I started
longer doing
reading,
that, right?
yeah, and I'm like, this seems a little different,
Yeah,
and I
that's
could
right.
tell that it was just, wasn't the same. And so it was the writers, and it was apparently a brand new set of writers. And yeah, just,
That
yeah,
I've seen similar things happen where we've worked with television and radio stations, and then
mhm,
the television or the radio station is sold to another corporation or
yeah,
conglomerate, and the staff and the on-air talent and everybody says, okay, there are new owners,
yeah,
what's going to happen? And
yeah.
of course, usually they will say publicly in the newspaper, we're going to keep everything the same, everybody is good to go, no worries,
Yeah,
everything. And that's because they want to have a smooth transition, so when they come in,
yeah,
they can make a smooth transition, and not have everybody a mass exodus and then come
right.
in and then scramble. But usually, as soon as they hit the newspapers and they're quoted as saying everything is going to stay exactly as it is,
Mhm.
get your demo reel and your
Yeah,
resume going
that's right.
because
Call your agent,
there's
start
going to be a
auditioning.
blowout. It's going to be a
Exactly.
blowout. Start
Yeah,
the car quickly.
so true. I think that and also it was a time where, the show was being filmed in New York, and it was really expensive to shoot the show in New York. And I think they were scrambling and trying to come up with certain things in the storylines to sort of like, save the show per se. I know that they ended up moving the show to Los Angeles to try to cut down on costs, and keep it going for a while in LA. But I think that there was some different layers going on with
Right. Yeah.
with
There was
you
an
know general.
overall new direction and overhaul that was happening to
Yeah,
have it, as everything, times were changing and
yeah,
everything, the tastes were changing, and
they were changing
programming, a lot of the daytime talk shows, the game shows, the
all of
quick,
it. Yes,
the more less expensive produced
absolutely.
shows popping on. They were
Yes.
saying, gee, this is an institution. We don't,
Yeah,
I remember uh, Victoria Wyndham fighting to keep Another World
yeah,
on,
yeah. I grew
fighting
up
the
watching Another
network,
World.
and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and because 35 years,
yeah.
and it was being tweaked and changed, and some really wacky storylines
Wacky,
that made
so
no
crazy.
sense. It's like,
Yes,
what is craziness is this?
yeah,
And trying to really keep it going, and
absolutely.
which is really amazing. People get attached to, especially you talk about, soap operas. I mean,
Yes,
20, 30 years
yeah,
of day-to-day television,
yeah,
generations of people become so attached to the characters. I imagine same with you, the
yeah.
characters you've played, you hear from people, they
I do.
call you by the name of the character, and
Yes,
you realize, how deeply invested the viewer actually
yeah.
is, right?
Oh, 100%. The fans, soap fans are some of the most loyal fans that you'll ever meet. And I had the privilege of attending, many fan events and getting to meet them and interact with them, and just really, just hear about their lives and stuff. And so, I've met so many wonderful people through it. And so yeah, it's really a world that you don't really know anything about until you're in it. And they send you letters, and they plan their vacations, to come to
Around,
around
right?
these fan events. And these are the vacations that they take. And it's so humbling, because you're like, not just me but other people in the cast. It's like you are spending your vacation, your hard-earned money, to come see us, to
Yes.
and it's just Yeah, there's
Yeah.
really no way to describe it, but just humbling and just wonderful people. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it was eye opening because I watched soaps growing up, but I didn't realize that there was that whole world out
That
there.
depth
The
of,
depth of it.
it's kind of almost like Beatlemania in a way.
Oh yeah,
It's the depth is really they know everything that
know
you're
everything.
doing.
Yes.
If you are married
Oh
and
yes.
you have a side boyfriend that they don't like you. I mean, they get very. Wait a minute, we don't want her to do that. We want her to stay with him. Why are
Yes.
you putting, and then they get mad and they're like, why are
They
you putting her with him? We don't like him. We want
Well,
her
and
with
they
the
will
other
tell you
one.
right then that what which I always love to hear it because
Yeah.
they have a lot of great ideas for
Yeah.
storylines.
The direction,
And
right.
I said, you know what? If I had any say in it,
It,
I
I,
probably wouldn't be doing this either. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
that's right.
But they would give a lot of great advice, on what they wanted to see, and yeah, they knew everything about your talking about your character's family and background and everything you'd been through, and probably what you were going to go through. you know.
Right.
But
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was really really great just to see that see that
Yeah.
part of it.
So when that happened, when that wrapped up,
Yeah.
did the phone ring right away and people say, hey, okay, she's leaving that, but we want her here. We want her to be a part of this.
So I had the opportunity to audition for Guiding Light before they
Yeah.
went off the air.
Yeah.
And well, I should say, so the phone rang for that. I got to audition for a part on Guiding Light before I
And that
left
was
New
shot
York.
in New York as well.
It was shot in New York as
Yeah.
well. And literally right after I shot my screen test for that, they decided to um, do away with the whole storyline with the character they were doing because the show was going to be coming to an end.
It was
And
wrapping. Yeah.
it was going to be wrapping up. And it was sort of one of those situations where it was like, oh, it's just sad because such an institution, Guiding Light had been on the air for years and years. And
Yes.
I was all obviously gung ho to stay in New York
To
and
be a part of it. Right.
it, and was thankful that they called me in for a screen test and stuff like that. So I did have the phone ring for that, but when that didn't pan out, I knew that heading back to LA was going to have to happen because as wonderful as New York is, and there's a lot of opportunities, my agent was there, and my just kind of going back to where I'd come from and start there again. So I ended up after a few months. I'd waited a few months, but I ended up going back to LA. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a good decision overall, would you say? Because other opportunities for other episodic television came your way
Yes,
too, right?
did. Yes, I was able to do Rules of Engagement and Parenthood and some commercials, national commercials, short films, few little movies and things like that. So yes, it definitely was a great move. And it was probably 9 months after I moved back to LA, I met my husband. And so I always say, acting aside,
That's a good
it
result
was a
of
very
everything.
it's a good decision because I met my husband about 9 months later, and here we are, 11 years. Well, not including dating, but 11 years into our marriage.
Congratulations, huh?
Thank you. It was definitely the right move. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. That's it. There's a reason for everything, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Although at the time, when I was moving back to LA, you're thinking, is this the right move? Like, should I just stay in New York? Like, but New York's so expensive if you're not working full time. Like, it's insane, paying for the
Yes.
rent alone.
Yeah.
So I knew that I had a lot of questions still, but that, financially and from the advice of my agent who I was, talking with, I was like, well, I'm going to take this leap of faith and I'm just going to go back and see what happens, so.
Which was a good move because I think right now, too, I think the remaining soap operas are General Hospital,
Mhm.
Bold and the Beautiful,
Yep.
Young and the Restless,
Yep.
Days of Our Lives,
That's it.
and they're all in Hollywood, Los
They're all in
Angeles.
LA.
They're
Yeah.
all in
They're all in LA.
California, right? Yeah,
It's so expensive to film in New York. And I think, um, with just in the buildings that they were in. I know in the building that all my children filmed in, it was the same building they do The View. We were literally like across the hall from each other.
oh, yeah, ABC
And
Television Center, yeah, and some of
Mhm.
the other ones would do them, like, Another World, and others would go to the big warehouses in Brooklyn.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So it's just New York City prices,
Yeah,
with having to film all of that. And so that's
yeah.
why the remaining ones in LA are still, at least the bigger ones are still going on, because they, of course, they have the fan base, but also it's that, it's not as, it's expensive, but not as expensive as New York.
Do you have a desire to hop on some of the ones that remain, the Days or the Young and the Restless, some of the other ones?
I never say no to anything. I never say, oh, I'll never do that again, because I know when I've said that in the past, or I've said, oh, I'll never do that God, he's been like, oh, no. Um,
A month
so I
later,
never,
you're doing it, right?
yeah, exactly. So I never say never, but I know that, my husband and I, we left LA
Yeah.
about 4.5 years ago, and we moved here to Nashville.
Is he from Nashville?
No, actually, he's from a small town in Missouri,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I'm from South Carolina.
South
But
Carolina, right.
yeah, but we decided on Nashville because we wanted to move to a city that still had a lot going on culturally, and
Yeah.
I love live music and growth and
You
things to
mentioned you
do.
sing too. Were you
Yes,
hoping to
I do.
expand maybe your singing? Because Nashville has become an
Yes,
incredible hub. I have so many
yes,
people that are friends of mine
yeah,
and professional colleagues who have moved to Nashville from
yes,
LA, Chicago, New York, Atlanta,
yeah,
and they're in Nashville. They've
yeah,
made their family there, their life there, because there's this incredible,
yes.
it's a great place for jazz too, but
Oh,
uh,
yes.
the music area is huge. So were you hoping
It's
to maybe
huge.
expand on your own singing
Yes,
career?
I always keep that open, because that was my very first passion, was singing, and that's kind of what got me involved in sort of in the acting front, because I fell in love with musical theater, and so that I always keep that door open, in the sense of, I would love to, do something with that. So yeah, so Nashville, it seemed like a great fit for us, and it's also, right in between both of our families, like literally.
Yeah, it's sort of like splitting the difference between
Mhm.
South Carolina and Missouri,
Yeah, it
right?
splits the difference, and we had some friends of ours that had moved here that were really just loving it, and my husband has some extended family that lives in Franklin, just south of Nashville, and
Right.
so we had visited here before, so we just
Yeah.
knew that it was a place that we would love to, you know, come and try to settle into. And yeah, so we've been here 4.5 years. So I never say never
Never
to
say never.
TV and film parts. But that being said, I don't think that we would give up our home here in Nashville. So it would might be a situation where, I might have to travel a little bit more, or
Mhm.
something of that, which I've done before.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done it. So yeah, so we'll
And
see.
there's children too now,
There's
and
children
so
involved.
so, quality of life, good
Yes,
schools.
quality of life, yes, and we weren't able to own our own home in LA. It was just so expensive, and, just
You can't
things.
even own your own hut.
Yeah, you
I
can't
mean,
even own your own hut. It's impossible. So, and my son was, 3.
forget about San Francisco.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
Yeah, and my son was 3 at the time when we moved, and so we knew that there was coming a time where, he was going to be, um, having to go to, elementary school, and just all these sort of life decisions that were going to be coming up, that we were like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
we kind of need to decide on something if we're gonna, do this. So
right.
yeah, but it's been great. We love it. The people are amazing. and it's growing a lot. Of course, there's a lot of people moving in, but
Yeah.
I feel like because of all the people moving in and from where they're coming from and what they do, I see Nashville becoming a hub in the future for more entertainment, acting, TV and
Absolutely.
film, entertainment, not just music. So I always, have hopes that it'll definitely keep growing in that direction.
What from all my children, and then we can mention General Hospital, people, talking about that's the viewers, the lovities are commenting throughout the show. We appreciate all of that. Do you have some favorite moments and favorite scenes with the various characters that you played? Of course, All My Children and General Hospital, scenes that were just, I loved that.
Well, General Hospital, I got to interact with Bradford Anderson quite a bit. He played Spinelli on the show, and his character had a crush on me on the show, and we would joke off camera, just how hilarious it was that I was this killer nurse that just had no compassion, and he's desperately trying to get my attention and follow me around the hospital, and I'm just so mean to him, and just like, it was hilarious. There was this one scene though where he's kind of learning more about me and seeing there might be I'm afraid that he might have seen something he shouldn't have seen, and so I pull him into a room and kind of we have a moment together. And I remember in the scene, we both come out of the room after, our makeout session or whatever you want to call it. And he chooses, and this is Bradford as an actor, he chooses to take his shirt and sort of pull it over his head, and it's around his neck. And he slides out of the room. I remember thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. It's hilarious. And I'm just laughing. I have to keep a straight face though.
Of course, that's the hard part, right?
That was the hard part. Yeah. Well, we had the best time filming, and he was just a joy to work with. And I would say All My Children. Well, the very first day I was on set they had never done anything like this before, but on the first day, so I was replacing a character on the show, and the old character, they said, okay, so her character, which we're playing the same person, but she goes in for a hug with Bobby Eakes, who played our mother. And in the middle of the hug, they switch her out and they put me in. And when I come out of the hug, it's me. Yeah. And there was no announcement. There was no people.
It's just, this is what we're doing.
Played by Amanda Baker. Yeah. No, it was like if people didn't know what was happening, they were probably like, what's happening? Like,
right. And that happens often.
Yeah. And so it was crazy because being her last day and my first day, of course there's a lot of emotions for her and a lot of emotions for me.
Were you nervous that the viewers might not take to the new?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. I was nervous that, they were going to hate me. And of course there were a lot of people that were like, no, you're not, you're not Babe, and then there were a lot of people that were very, very kind and were, super just generous with their, kindness, but
like rooting for you.
It was tough. So that day sticks out with me a lot. And then I would say there were a lot. There were some crazy scenes. I had to play like a pretend hooker, like
pretend.
Yeah,
how do you pretend?
Exactly, I know.
You just brag about it.
Yeah, I mean, just so many crazy. Just so many crazy.
Did you ever read a script and say, "Are you kidding me?" To yourself, like,
yeah,
what?
a lot.
The viewers are gonna buy this.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, pretty much. If not every week, every other week, I'm going.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but
this is like, yeah,
it was a crazy ride, but you kind of get used to it after a while. You're like, well, I mean, what else can she do?
Yeah, you drive off a cliff.
Drive off a cliff, come back to life. I did come back as a ghost a couple of times.
Come back as a ghost,
and those stand out for me because I'd already left the show, and so when I came back, it was good to see everyone, and or I guess I was an apparition. I don't know if I was a ghost, but an
Yeah.
apparition. Yeah, so that was cool. I was able to fly back in and see everybody. So those stand out to me as well because I was able to go back and get a little taste of it again.
You mentioned rules of engagement. What was that like to be a part of that as well? That's cool.
Yeah, I love being on a sitcom. The energy is um, just so um, light, and everybody just seems like everybody was in such a fantastic mood because it's just comedy, and when you go to film, you there's a live studio audience there, and so we were talking about this earlier, the when things are live, and even though they're taping the show, but you have the live studio audience there, they're there laughing, they're there clapping, you have a comedian there who's like, revving up the crowd,
Yeah.
while
You're
you're
feeding off that energy. Yeah.
energy, and I loved it. I mean, the night, so basically what they do is they rehearse for 4 days and then they shoot one day. And so um the live audience wasn't there until the last day, but it was just exciting. And I was like, wow, and the schedule is that a lot like a soap where, you're not having to drive to different locations, you're on a set, and, it's a multi-camera situation, just like a
Yeah.
soap. So,
Right.
you have your technical spots you're supposed to hit. So a lot of that felt like for me, a lot of the soap stuff came back.
Yes.
And, I was
The
able to use
training, the
that. Yeah,
background. Right.
I was definitely able to use that when I was on the show because I was like, oh, it's multi-camera. I can, it's like I got to hit this spot, and then when I say this line, I'm supposed to be here. So I believe it wasn't as nerve-wracking because I had, had that experience before. But I loved it. It was great, and everybody was just hilarious. David Spade is
Oh,
is
yeah.
he's the guy that you see on like Saturday Night Live and
Yeah.
show, like
He's the
he's that
same.
guy
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
camera, like joking and always just, and I'll
With
never
that
forget
deadpan, dry sense
the
of
dry,
humor, the
dry
delivery.
sense of humor. I mean, just the whole thing. So it was a blast. I loved it.
Yeah. And One Tree Hill, you mentioned that earlier too. That was
Yeah.
filmed in North Carolina?
Yes, that was one of the
Yeah.
first things I had done when I
Yeah.
decided to
I
do.
mean, not a bad first thing because that was a
Yeah.
very popular series.
Yes, it
It was on
was.
CW, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
CW,
CW.
and it was great. I think it was probably one of the first actual shows that I had done.
Great storylines.
Yeah, great storylines. It really, I think for me, kind of opened up my heart and my mind to
Mhm.
really start thinking about doing it seriously.
Gave you the confidence
The
too, probably
confidence.
needed.
Definitely, definitely. So yeah, it was a great experience. I was happy that Wilmington, just down the
Yeah.
road from where I was able to have such a successful show and
Right.
have it on for so many years. So it was great for our area.
You mentioned commercials too. What were some of the spots that you were in?
Oh my gosh, I've done Enterprise rental car. I did a Super Bowl commercial
Did you?
for Bud Light
Oh,
that
wow.
was really fun to film, and I did it was kind of a regional commercial. It was for a spray tanning company. And I
Sure,
remember
yeah.
they coated me with
Can.
orange paint. It was like it was a comedic role where they were basically trying to say like, come to ours versus theirs because it's going to
Because
turn out like this. They
yes.
were being coated in orange paint. It was just,
Now, did you
oh,
ever try that yourself? Did you ever try the spray tanning yourself? I did
yes,
once through a
I did.
salon that my friend owns, and they said, "Oh, we got this new thing. You go in the booth,
Yes,
and within 24 hours,
yes.
your feet are orange, and
Oh,
it's like,
yes.
what?
I have had my fair share of spray tans. I will say because I'm a pale
You're
person.
fair
I'm
skinned,
very pale,
yes.
fair skin, and so when I never would do it for filming because that
It
they would just
just
be like
it doesn't look
it looks
natural.
terrible.
Yeah,
But for different events or things like that, you know, I would sometimes go and spray tan or whatever. But inevitably, I would just end up looking very odd, like just not normal, like
Not like
supposed to,
that California golden, more
not
like
the
a
golden.
Florida sun-kissed. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing, no, nothing like that. Where there are some pictures that I go back and look at, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what was I thinking? I literally look like a shade of orange. That's just like I did on the spray tan commercial. So yeah, I should have learned my lesson on that. But I have had my fair share of spray tans. I think we've come a long way since then, because that
Yeah, I
was
think
probably
they've
a couple of
improved
years
their
ago.
ingredients.
I think they've definitely improved them. They are more gold. They are more golden natural, you know. And I think you can get a lighter spray versus sort of just the one spray that they used to do.
Now, these are useful tips you're getting from Amanda. So I hope you
Yeah,
guys are, jotting these down for when you go to the
jot them
tanning
down,
booths,
because
you
now
know.
you can go, you can get light, medium, or dark. You can get different shades, you know, that goes along with your skin tone, like me, who's very fair, almost sort of like a transparent white color.
There
So
you go. Yeah.
so yeah, this picture here was they definitely they would put a little bit of a darker foundation on me, so I would have a little bit more of a glow per se. So but yeah, that's a picture from General Hospital Night Shift where I had on my pink scrubs, and I was playing Jolene.
Yes, it's a great shot too. A nice
Yeah.
smile, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
she was supposed to look innocent. She was supposed to look like the girl next door, but underneath it all, there was a lot happening.
there was a lot of fire and energy there, right?
Uh,
We got another cool shot actually that we've collected here.
yes.
Tell us what we're seeing here.
This was from a year ago, actually. Jacob and
Hmm.
I reunited from our past days on All My Children, and we are filming a short film called Prepare for Launch. And he was playing the astronaut John S. Bull, and I was playing his wife Nancy. And so it's a period piece, and I loved it because I loved the hair and I loved the makeup and I love the wardrobe.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got to reunite for that. We filmed that in Virginia, and well, he actually filmed it in a few different locations because he had to do some stuff involving like NASA stuff and astronaut things. But
Yeah.
I flew into Virginia, and that's where I filmed all my stuff.
Cool stuff. And again, you guys have worked together for quite some time.
Yes,
Tell us
yes.
about this shot.
This was our engagement photo for the show because we were going to be getting married again for probably the third or fourth time. I don't remember how many times. We joke that he says he's like, as far as all my ex-wives go, I've worked with Amanda the most as far as ex-wives. He's had quite a few on different shows.
You're the best ex-wife of all my ex-wives.
Ex-wife of all. Yeah, no, it's no, but this was our engagement photo. We didn't quite get to the wedding, but yeah,
That is funny.
Yes, so funny. Yeah.
This project too, Nashville Christmas Carol.
Yes. So they shot half of it in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they shot the other half in Nashville. And guess what? I got to shoot my part in Charlotte, not the city that I live in.
Yeah.
So, it just goes to show you how Hollywood works.
Yes.
But no, it was great. I got to go to Charlotte and film for the movie, the Hallmark movie, which is a great franchise to be a part of.
Oh yeah, a lot of the viewers here love the Hallmark movies.
Yes, it's such a phenomenal network, and just love all the content they put out. It's always just
Paul Green. He's a friend of mine. He's in a lot of them too.
I don't know him personally, but I definitely know who you're talking about. And I love that they use a lot of people regularly. Because I just love that because they become a family,
Right, exactly.
You become a family there. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and just really cool to watch, like Nashville.
And do they still air it? Is that something that they?
So they aired it again this year.
Again
And
this year too.
I
Wow.
know that because I got a residual check in the mail from the movie.
Very nice. Very
Although I didn't
nice.
know when it was going to film on Hallmark because they film so many Christmas movies, or they show so many too from the past. But every now and again, I open the mailbox and I'm like, oh, I guess they showed it again.
They
So
showed it again. That's
yeah,
nice, huh?
yeah,
That
exactly.
that is cool. Look at this shot.
That's Alexa. That's
Yeah.
Alexa who played A Babe Before Me, and
Yes.
that was
Th-
actually one of the weddings that
You replaced her,
yes, I
and then
replaced
she
her.
moved on to
Yes,
other
yes,
pastures.
yes. She
Now, do you stay in touch? You guys stay in touch
um
with the actors and actresses over the years?
I've stayed in touch with quite a few.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is through social media, but like I said, I Jacob and I sort of did a random Instagram live together. And it was from that Instagram where we kind of we were talking, just like you and I are talking. We were talking a lot about the past and the shows, the show that the scenes we did. And so from there, it just sort of happened that we connected and were able to do the short film together. So,
Which is cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah,
You like that? And short films, independent films, there's a lot of great ones
yes.
out there.
Oh, there are. I love it. I especially short films because um well, they don't take 4 months to shoot,
A little more freedom. Yeah.
yes, a little more freedom, and they they're still just phenomenal because they get entered into film festivals, and a lot of times the shorts can turn into full-length features if they get the funding and they get the if they get greenlit by certain people that are wanting to support it. So yeah, I love a good short film. I'm always a fan.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything you're working on now in that regard, or things that so projects you have up your sleeves as we get
Well, I've been
near the
auditioning
new year?
I've been auditioning quite a bit
Yeah.
lately, and so, we're just, it usually slows down a little bit over the holidays.
Around the holidays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's, January, it'll definitely pick back up again, but the short film actually is supposed to be coming out, like, anytime now.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's been edited. I just got a message from the director the other day who said, like, we're pretty much at the end, so it's gonna be really, it's gonna be coming out
It's going to be
uh,
coming out.
any time now. So
Cool.
I'm so excited to see it because oh
Cool.
yeah, this is on A Nashville Christmas Carol. This is Kix Brooks, who's part of the country band Brooks and Dunn,
Right.
and he was in the film. And so just hilarious to work with. He played one of the ghosts of I think he was the ghost of Christmas Past. But
Yeah.
basically it's a sort of a remake, a retake on A Christmas Carol. So it's A Nashville Christmas Carol, and he was playing the ghost of Christmas Past, but just hilarious.
Very cool.
Such a cool guy, and he was telling so many fun stories about um just his past in the music business, and I just was sitting there just like in awe just listening to him talk
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, so it
Epic.
was great. Yeah,
Epic.
but
We
but
saw
yeah,
that earlier. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. That's a cool one. And I think there's something else. Is this one here? Oh, that's her too, right?
yes, we look
Yeah.
a lot alike.
There's a similar, right? Exactly. So,
Yeah,
so
we look a
she
lot
had
alike.
moved on, and then you came
Yeah,
in.
that's right. Yep, that's her. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. What happened to that child? Did that become yours?
Yeah, well, actually, he was so yeah. When I came on the show, he was still there, and then he ended up getting recast with these twins that came on, who were they all were phenomenal. They were all so sweet and so great to work with. But I don't know what happened with that when they're young.
Yeah.
A lot of times to be on a show like so consistently. And so,
We had the D'Ambrosio twins on, who were on The Young and the Restless.
okay.
And they were terrific too. They were just little girls when they were on, kind of like the Olsen twins almost.
Yeah.
That's cool, huh? When you have an
Yeah.
opportunity to do that.
Well, and the boys that played my son on the show, they just graduated high school. And their mom, I've stayed in touch with their mom over the years.
Yeah.
And Jacob has as well. And she reached out to the both of us and wanted us to send, she was basically collecting words of wisdom and things that we wanted to tell them and say to them when she sent them off to college. And so I wrote something, to them to send, basically, just to let them know, how proud I was, and just, a few words of encouragement and things like that. So it was really
Beautiful.
surreal to know that they're graduating high school, because they were only 5 or 6 when we were filming.
The clock stops for no one, right?
For no one. And, but so cool.
Do you like to do that? Do you like to inspire and mentor others and teach others? You've learned a lot. You've had these fabulous experiences, and you still have many more, to be had. But it seems like you really like to sort of pay it forward.
I do. I really do, because I feel like whenever I've done podcast or interview or anything like that, I like to, if they have questions, from people who are aspiring actors, or people that might not know where to begin, or, might just need a little bit of insight, I like to always sort of give them a little bit of advice, or at least, sort of how it happened for me. I know it's different for everyone, but I always like to encourage people and let them know that, it's always possible to never give up on something that you want to do, and to believe in yourself, because it's, along the way, I've had a lot of no's, and I've had a lot of, you doing this, and, aren't you too old, like now, or, whatever it is that kind of makes you feel like, well, am I doing the right thing, or should I be still doing this, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I know where my passion lies. And so if I can give a little bit of encouragement to someone, or advice, I'm always happy to do that, because especially in this industry, there is a lot of rejection. And like I said before, no's. So it's always nice to have support and have encouragement in order to keep going,
Now the pitter patter of feet that are happening in your house, do you see, I know you were saying with your son, got quite a personality already, huh?
Yes, he does. And he's been auditioning for different things lately, and he gets so excited about it. And I've talked to him about,
what's his name, process, in case he watches this?
Yes, his name is Wilder.
Wilder. Hey, Wilder.
Yes. Hey, baby.
Yeah.
And he gets so excited, when he gets an audition, and he puts his all into it, and he takes direction really well. And unlike his mother, his memory is like, it's just insane what this kid can remember. And he can read a page of lines one time, and my husband or myself will go over it with him, and he'll put the paper down and be able to, recite back what his lines are.
He picks it right up quickly. Yeah. Which is really good, because time is money, right?
Oh yeah. And I'm like, how are you doing it? Like, I've never been able to do that. I've always had to work at my memorization skills, like even like years ago. So, but he's always been that way ever since he was a babe. Like, just, he just has that sort of,
soaks it all up.
Yeah. He soaks it all up, and almost got one of
great.
the photographic type memories.
Memories, right.
So yeah, so he's now he's not pursuing it full time or anything, but it's just a part-time thing, where if something comes available, he'll audition. And so we'll continue on with it, just as for a fun thing. And
one of these days, I think I'll be interviewing Wilder here on the Jim Master Show live.
Well,
right?
you never know.
You never know, right?
He's a sweet, sweet boy. I know I'm biased, but he really is. He's a sweet boy, and he's got a really great personality. And so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
And you got that cat behind that blue screen there who's been very calm, cool, and collected, because before we were going live, that cat wanted to rip that screen down. Like, why is there a screen behind her? I don't
Let me
understand.
just tell you about this cat. This cat, my husband found on the side of the road. He was driving to work one day, and I get this call like at 6 in the morning. He's like, "Hey, make sure the front door is unlocked. I'm bringing something back to the house." And I'm thinking, what does he have to bring back? Like, and so, but he didn't tell me.
Champagne, roses, chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, something for his wife. But anyway, so I walked downstairs in a stupor. I'm not quite fully awake yet, and the kids aren't awake yet and I open the front door, and there's this teeny tiny kitten, like 5 weeks old maybe, in his hand, and she was so scared. She was shaking, and she was just her little meow. She was just like, I mean, so I immediately, because I'm an animal lover, I mean, like my husband knew the minute that he saw that cat and brought it home, like the cat was ours. Like there was just no questions that's what it was. And immediately took the cat in my arms, and I grabbed a towel and I just held her against my chest until she stopped shaking. And ever since that point, I have been her mother. I mean, like she lays
Taken
on
to
my
you,
lap,
yeah.
but she has this wildness about her, and she very quickly, because we have a dog door, she very quickly learned how to use the dog door and like go in and out the house. And I'm like, okay, so she's going to be an indoor outdoor cat.
So
Okay.
she's adventurous, curious.
Very adventurous. And so she likes to bring us gifts every now and again.
Whatever's out in the neighborhood.
You never know when you might come downstairs in the morning, and right there lying on the floor is a lovely, I don't know, mole or
mouse, a bird.
She's there just like, "Hey mom, look, this is for you. Aren't you proud?" And I'm like screaming and like,
Right.
out that there's, like a half dead like animal on my floor. So rethinking the whole dog door, but nonetheless, she's doing it. She's doing it to say thank you. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's right.
She's entertaining. I will give her that. She's entertaining. And her name is Raven, by the way. My son
Raven. Oh, that's cool.
He wanted to name the cat after like a superhero so we went through all sorts of things, Superman and Spider-Man. I'm like, well, it's a girl and she's kind of black. So he was like, oh, what about Raven? And I'm like, you know what? I think we can go with that. I think we're going to land there, and we're going to just stop, and I think we're good. So yeah, but we that's some interesting suggestions prior.
Yes, right. Exactly. What would you say to, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, to somebody that's watching live or later in the archives, because we archive all these episodes, who is considering, they've watched you, they admire you, and they're considering going into these lines of work? Yeah.
Well, I first of all would say believe in yourself, because there's going to be a lot of times where, people will say, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Or I don't think you're making the right decision. Or, like I said, there's a lot of no's, there's rejection in the sense of like, when you audition and if you don't get the part, it's hard not to take it personally. But I would say that, if you really truly believe that it's something that you're passionate about and that you want to pursue, absolutely go for it. Because there are, especially now, because there's so many different platforms out there for different shows. And, we were talking about short films and, internet shows. I mean, like what you're doing now, I mean, for anybody that's interested in wanting to host or be a part of, something online, there's just so many different avenues now where there used to not be. So I would tell them to believe in themselves, to pursue it, go for a casting director workshop, because you never ever know if within that workshop who you're going to meet, what connections you're going to make. And if the casting director, because I've experienced it, they really do, if they see something in you, they will remember you and they will call you in. So try to use those type situations to your advantage in getting your face in front of people, because it's helpful. And if you don't nonetheless, if you don't get in for an audition, you still are learning. And so, you take that with you and you move on to the next thing. So, you do have to invest in it, and then invest in your, if you want to invest in a career, um, you have to, kind of go down that road in wanting to train and do things like that. But that these days they have so many different things you can do. You can do them online. They have online
Yes.
courses where they used to not have that before when I first started. So
Right.
so many different avenues that you can go down, that it's certainly possible for people to, be able to, work in the industry and, be successful, or at least, you know, get better and better, and continue to get their name out there and their face out there. So, um, but yeah, I would just say, and don't, there's going to be times where you want to throw in the towel or give up, but, and if you have to take a breather, that's always, I've had to take some breathers, but you always get back up and you keep going, you keep moving on, and have a good support. Try to get a good support system around you, because, doing it by yourself is hard.
Yeah.
And so
Very important.
even if it's a friend, but have someone in your corner to
Yeah.
encourage you to, continue to, cheer you on in those times. So
What are some of the things you do to, provide zen? Obviously there's a lot of demands and it's high pressure and there's a lot of energy and emotion that's invested in this work. What
yeah,
are some of the things you do? Of course, being surrounded by the family and the loved ones. What are
yeah.
some other things that Amanda likes to do to deamp, decompress, and sort of reboot?
I love to sing, and that's a huge outlet for me. I attend a church here in Nashville called or it's in Spring Hill. I'm in a suburb of Nashville called the Bridge, so I'm on the worship team there, and it's a huge outlet for me, creatively, and within my, just my, where I feel like I'm using my giftings and things. So, I really, I love to sing. And so for me, when I don't feel like I'm being creative, or at least in acting, on the acting front, that's my go-to right there.
Yeah, that's
And I have the
fantastic.
support of my family for sure, which is great. My husband, he's my biggest supporter. He's my filmer, my reader, my cheerleader, my
Sounding board.
sounding board, he gives me advice within scenes to redirect, to do things. So I'm just, yes, he's the person that says, you you can do this,
You
so
got this. You
it's,
got this. Yeah.
I always tell people, if it's not a parent or just someone, t- find someone or have someone in your life that can, encourage you, because it's hard to go through it alone, for sure.
Absolutely right. And you were inspired early on, obviously, in your life, and you
Yes.
soaked that up, which was really a beautiful thing. What are some of the additional blessings and joys in your life that motivate you to continue to do this work that you do?
Um, it's my children. I want to teach them that if they are able to find something that they love, to really pursue it and to go for it. So
Yeah.
when I look at my children's faces, and they say, or one of them sees me on TV or something that I've done, it opens up an opportunity for me to talk with them about, and of course my son's 7, so I don't know that he knows what he's going to do or want to do for the rest of his life, or, there's a lot of twists and turns in life, but to find something that makes him happy, that brings him joy, to, and if it's not something that he is, um, that's like a job per se, find something on the side, or find something,
Yeah.
as a hobby, or something that really can bring you joy, to fulfill some passion inside of him, that can, because I feel like that's so important in life, that
Yes.
when, if you do, because there's so many jobs out there that people do that are kind of, like, there's, I think within every job, you kind of have to find a thankfulness in it, even if it's not something that's glamorous or exciting, or, But
And
I
isn't it amazing that that's what's happening right now with
yes,
COVID, the pandemic, all this? People have been stopping, pausing, and looking at their lives and saying,
yeah,
okay, this is what I've done.
right.
This is what I want to do now that really inspires me and inspires
Absolutely.
others.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. So find something that you love that brings you that joy. It could be anything, and make time for that in your life because I think it's important and it keeps us healthier and it keeps us saner.
grounded, right? And you call upon faith. Faith is important to
It
you.
is very important to me. Yeah. And I found my faith when I was, 23, came into my own faith, not someone telling me
Right, right, exactly.
not someone telling me what to believe, but something that I really came into on my own through my own experiences in life. So that is definitely for me something that plays a huge role in keeping me grounded and really when I want to just give up on everything or say like, oh, but it's like
It's too much, and
I
yeah,
can find um, my center and say,
yeah.
what, the things that I believe in or the passions that I have, I believe are a gift that I've been given that I can help to either, and if it's just if I inspire people or help people, I'm cool with that too. If I were to never do another thing on screen, but if I could help someone or inspire them or help them, give them advice, I would be happy with that too.
Nothing
So
better, right? Nothing better.
nothing better.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely plays a huge, if not one of the most important roles in my life.
Kathleen Walker is watching in New York City. She's enjoying this conversation. Thank you, Amanda, for being here. Enjoyed your work on All
Uh,
My Children. You are a lovely lovety. Of course, I mentioned the show has a lot of lovety here on the Jim
yes,
Masters Show
I
Live.
love that, by the way.
Cool.
So sometimes things by accident are some of the greatest things that we are able to like,
Yes,
just come up with. It's like by accident,
absolutely.
and then
Yeah.
it's something that is stuck. So I love it. It's fantastic.
Maureen is all excited because her daughter just got married a couple of weeks ago. She's in Arizona.
Yes.
And in about 3 weeks, she's retiring after many years as a nurse in Arizona.
Wow. Thank you for just being on the front lines.
With everything. What an amazing ride you've had so far. Best wishes for many opportunities to do what you love. She's
Thank
in
you.
Arizona. Merlin's watching in Ontario, Canada. And she says, if you didn't do acting, what else? What would be that option? Would be singing, probably?
Yes, if acting didn't work out, I would have probably pursued singing, and if that didn't happen, if it wasn't in the creative world, I would have probably become a teacher. I love
Ah,
kids,
yeah.
and
That's great.
I just inspired by kids, so I probably would have probably gone into elementary, maybe elementary education.
How about other areas within the field? Do you like writing, producing, directing?
You know what? I would love to explore more of the writing side of things because my husband has written a few things and talking with him about different ideas and about storylines and things like that has always kind of really interested me. And so I would definitely say writing would be something that if I was going to explore another avenue of it, it would probably be that.
Sherry Larson's in the middle of the country too. She's in Kansas, and she says, "Thank you for joining us tonight, Amanda. Used to watch both of the soaps back in college and beyond. You are a very wise woman."
Oh, thank you so much, Sherry. I really appreciate it. Well, you know what? It's been through many years in the industry and also from my wonderful parents who um, instilled a lot of things in me. But I always have mom in the back of my ear saying, "Remember," you know. So, but no, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, it's always never lose that voice in the ear, right?
You never do. You never do.
Now, did you still have any wine left in that glass? You could
No,
definitely take a sip.
I haven't been
You're,
sipping
you're
as much
so,
as I should.
I was going to say you're so polite. I mean, you must be
Well,
parched by now. Go ahead, you've earned it.
oh, you're so funny. Yeah, I know. I keep kind of
See,
panning towards it, but I haven't really
there,
figured
go ahead.
out.
It's
Okay, I'll
all
take a
there.
sip.
Pretend you're doing a commercial. There you go.
Run
Wow,
commercial
this is
really quickly.
delicious.
Exactly.
Now, see, here I am looking at you and chatting with you, and I never understand how this works whenever it's Friday, so we have this, but
Yeah.
um, I don't know how the glass became empty. I mean, I've been looking at you and chatting with you the
I
whole
haven't
time.
seen you take a sip.
Right, and
I
I don't
haven't.
understand. It's got strawberries in the bottom. I
Oh,
don't
that's
understand,
delicious.
but
Okay,
I
so
think I
you did a better job than I did. You were very, like, strategic or something because
well,
that was
you're from the East Coast. We move fast.
we did, yes. I am from the East Coast,
Yeah, see?
100%. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very, very sly,
Yeah.
leaving no fingerprints.
Exactly.
You know who I think is actually responsible? Mr. George Burns.
Oh,
Yes,
Mr. George
yes,
Burns.
Mr.
I didn't
George
realize
Burns
he
is
had him
here.
there.
See,
Hi,
what I think
Mr.
happens, Amanda, is he's always positioned. He comes towards the latter part of the show and he
Okay,
puts a smile on everybody's faces.
I love it.
And he's positioned near the glass. So
Okay,
I really think that this cigar
yes,
actually extends out to a straw and
you
he
know it does.
drinks it. I think
Mr. George
George,
Burns, you're
Mr.
the
George Burns,
culprit,
he's
okay? We know exactly what you're doing over there. That cigar is not what it appears to be.
right.
I love that he makes an appearance every
He
show
makes an
because
appearance
he's
exactly. My
phenomenal.
aunt, my
Yeah.
mother's the youngest of 16. That's yeah,
What?
that's always the reaction. It's like the
You
Home
are
Alone face.
you are, like, kidding me.
She's the youngest of 16. So one
Oh
of
my
my aunts, Aunt
gosh,
Lillian, collected dolls of all
really?
kinds, big
Wow,
collector. So when he turned 100, this was a limited edition. It's got the whole
wow.
thing. She collected this, the George, and it got passed down to me. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll incorporate him into the broadcast here. And there he is. And
I
remember, he played God in the movie too.
Yes,
You're
he did.
talking fate, God on
He
your side.
he was really just a phenomenal
Yeah,
just
yeah.
phenomenal human being. So, I'm so glad that
He said,
he's
"You
making
knocked it out of the
this.
park tonight, kiddo."
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And then
Jane's watching in Sweden, late at night in Sweden, and she goes, "Thank you, Amanda, for being here. Thanks, Jim, for having her on." Of course.
you. Hello to Sweden.
Sweden, yeah, she's in
I've always wanted to go to Sweden.
where it's like way late.
Yeah.
Linda watching in St. Augustine, Florida. Great
Oh, Merry
spot.
Christmas, Linda.
Yeah, she says that as well. And Jane says it as well. And
Merry
Merlin in
Christmas.
Canada. And
Thank
a lot of
you.
the lovities. This was awesome, my friend. Really
Thank you
appreciate
for
the
having me.
time, the conversation.
It was
We
great.
will keep the porch light on for you. You are welcome back anytime. And
Thank you so
hopefully
much.
you spread the word about our series. We're doing
I
something
will.
different and unique. We really don't call these interviews. These are conversations. And it's
Well,
like
it
the
really
old
is.
school talk
I love it.
show way, like
I
Regis
much prefer
Philbin.
this
Yeah.
because it definitely you cover so many different areas,
In a
and
freestyle way.
I
Yeah.
love it because I feel like when I'm speaking in a freestyle way, I tend to think of things that I didn't really that I might not necessarily thought of before.
When you
So
have like 20 minutes or
yeah,
7 minutes to get it all in and talk about the new
exactly.
movie or the show, you
Yes.
gotta like, and it's all scripted and it's all, and we've all done that work, but I
Yeah.
really appreciate, I love this,
Oh,
this
this
kind
is phenomenal. I'm so glad that you decided to do this and that this sort of, was created out of a pandemic that, I think you definitely found something super successful that is, just it's what people love to watch is just the real life, the live things.
it's
So thank you.
amazing. The
Yeah.
people have, oh, my pleasure. They've written personally and they're like, my God, they're like, gee, you're just doing this, because you're so busy, Jim. Are you just doing this during the pandemic? Because we really, if I ever take a night off, they go into withdrawal. And you know that, like, if you're not on the soap
Yeah,
opera or a show, they're like,
of
where
course.
are you? And like, oh, well,
Absolutely.
we went away for the weekend with the family. I mean,
Oh yeah, of
so
course.
it's like,
Exactly. Yes.
but or there's a TV project or something that takes me away, but
Yeah.
they're, and they write and you get the Instagram messages and the tweets and Facebook, which is beautiful, isn't it? When that
Yes,
happens,
definitely. Oh my gosh.
that's
Just to
the
see
icing. Yeah.
the icing, the cherry on top, and to get the feedback, from
Yeah.
people that are really enjoying it is everything. So, why
Absolutely.
do it? Why, I mean, you do it because you enjoy it, but also you want to have people enjoy it as well with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maureen says you're beautiful inside and out. Have a wonderful Christmas with your sweet family.
Thank you so much, Maureen. You too.
Yeah. Jane thinks I take a sip when we're showing the photos. Hey,
Oh,
this is this is our secret, right? There's no smoke and
Exactly.
mirrors here, right, Amanda?
See, there's no
No.
smoke
Who
mirrors.
knows? We will never know. Only Amanda and I know how it happens.
That's exactly
I
right.
really think it's George Burns' straw.
I think you should stick with that because I think that's probably
Yeah, it
that's
extends out
good.
like a foot, and he just siphons it. Hugs from Merlin, and
Aw,
that's because we love you. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that
aw.
as well,
Sweet.
and I appreciate that as well. You guys are the best.
So sweet.
I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Amanda. It's been a
Yes,
blast.
I enjoyed it so much. Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
And considering that you've got a good sized army of relatives that are headed in your direction,
Yes. Oh my goodness.
are you going
Yes.
to be cooking? You have,
Well, probably one of the nights they're really good about like jumping in and
yeah, rolling up
just
their sleeves and
rolling up their sleeves and doing whatever they want to do. And I say, hey, this is all like this is your house too. So, just help
have at it. Yeah.
yeah. And but yeah, they're all so much fun. They all tell the best stories and he has a great
Yeah.
family. So but yeah, you still
Beautiful.
a lot to sort of prepare for. So,
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
I'll definitely probably be preparing some things.
Nice. What's your specialty? Do you have a specialty?
I usually will do a lasagna because it works well
Ooh,
with a large group. Uh,
nice.
or some sort of a pasta dish. But the recipe that actually my father makes is delicious, and so I like to do a lasagna, and I feel like it's filling, and people, you can make one huge one, and it or two huge ones, and everybody gets fed, and it's not super difficult.
All right. How quickly can we get on a plane and get to Nashville? Lasagna. We'll bring the bread. She's got the wine
Hey,
covered too.
you bring the bread. I've got the wine, and I've got the lasagna. And hey, somebody wants to bring a salad. We'll have
We'll bring a
everything.
salad and maybe some dessert, and we're good to go.
We're good. We're good to go. Exactly.
Jane says it's 3:45 a.m. where she is in Sweden. She's still
Jane,
watching.
oh
She's
my
here every night.
goodness.
That's
Jane,
dedication, huh?
wow, that is
That
dedication.
is
I
dedication.
mean, hopefully you'll be able to get some sleep
Yes.
tonight.
Yeah.
And
She used to she would watch our show in Sweden live.
yeah,
They can watch this later in the archives, but they
right.
love to be a
Like they
part
left
of
the
it
light.
while it's
Yeah,
live.
exactly.
And she just retired recently after many years working at one of the airports there in Sweden.
Oh wow.
And she would tell us live on the show that there were many times when our show would wrap up
Yeah.
about an hour before she had to go to work. So she had like an hour to,
Oh my gosh.
nap or something before she had to go to
Wow.
work. And she would cut it that close, but she would never miss this.
That's
It's
amazing.
almost like the soap opera sort of fandom,
Yes.
which
Oh,
is
100%.
very cool.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Well, listen, kudos to you because that's really amazing. That you would spend your time to watch the show and still go to work an hour later. So
At an airport too.
at an airport, which is like so busy. I mean,
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
like
no downtime at an
there's
airport.
no downtime. That's
Not at
it.
all. Oh,
Spread the word about our show. And is there anything coming up that you're excited about that you wanted to share, like in 2022? Any projects or anything happening? And is there a website people can go to follow your amazing
well, I would
career?
say if you go to Instagram, that's
Yeah,
where I will post most of everything going on. It's at
cool.
Amanda Baker Browning. So it's my married last name is tagged on the end, Amanda Baker Browning. And my short film is what's coming up, so I'm really excited about it. It's going to be entered into a lot of festivals, and it was shot so beautifully. I'm so excited about the cinematography and the story and just everything. I've seen some rough cuts and things, and it's just I'm super excited
You're
about it.
excited
Both
about
Jacob
it.
and I are. So hopefully we'll reunite again, maybe at a few festivals and really promote it because our goal is to turn it into a full-length feature. So I'm
Cool.
updated on that.
That is exciting. Well, best of luck with that. And you're welcome back anytime. We'll keep that porch light on for you, Amanda. This was
Thank
really a blast.
thank
And
you so much. It was.
oh, absolutely. Best of the holiday season to you and the family, and blessings and joys of the new year. And let's stay in touch. That'll be a pleasure.
That sounds great. You too, Jim. Thanks for having me and happy holidays.
You're welcome. You take care now, okay?
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Amanda Baker, live from Nashville, Tennessee. Now she gets to finish the rest of the glass. I forgot that she had that glass there. I was like, gee, she hasn't taken a sip yet. She's certainly earned it. She sang for her supper tonight. Really, really a blessing to have her on the show. Yeah, I know you guys enjoyed it because you've been commenting throughout the entire broadcast. And again, you can see her at Instagram and all the usual social media places and more, and upcoming, shows and productions and everything else. And really a blast having her here on the show. Extraordinary television and film actress. All My Children General Hospital, yes, but so much more and more to come. And she also loves the stage too. We were talking about that before we went live on the air. She loves live. She said she was really enjoying the fact that we do this series live, the Jim Masters Show live, because she loves the element of live. So do I. And she loves to be out there on the stage too. So yes, I agree with you, Linda. She's a lovety now. Absolutely. You got it. I know you're drooling over that lasagna she was talking about. How quickly? Well, you're in Sweden, so I don't think you'd get to Nashville in time. I think the family's going to come and wipe out that lasagna. So just dream about her lasagna. You guys are the best. Thanks so much for being with us. I tell you, we've had an amazing array of phenomenal people joining us here on the show, and we really appreciate everybody. Tomorrow, live from Ireland, Katerina Skoljan is with us, soprano soloist. She's been with Celtic Woman, Nunya, and so much more. She's going to sing live. We're all excited about that. Matter of fact, from Celtic Woman, Megan and Murren were here live from Ireland as well. They're fabulous friends. Did you see when Barry Livingston was with us from My Three Sons? Yeah, he played Ernie Douglas. We had a great conversation with him. So Katerina is with us tomorrow, special time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, live on Saturday. That's going to be cool. Monday, Brian Dunkelman. Yes, a terrific host, actor, comedian. And he's been very open about his experience as one of the original co-hosts of American Idol. Yes, if you don't remember, he co-hosted American Idol the very first year with Ryan Seacrest. And he talks about that, and he talks about why he left the show, and he's been very open about it. And it's going to be a riveting conversation because he's very open, and it's going to be really amazing. He's with us Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Karen Grassley, who played Ma. She was the mom on Little House on the Prairie. She's with us on Tuesday. That's right. Tuesday coming up, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 4 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Karen Grassley, she has a wonderful new book out too, and she's been very open, very open. It's eye-opening, it's riveting, and she details some interesting things that happened on set during the filming of Little House on the Prairie. And it's really amazing, and you'll be very, very surprised. Again, she's been very open about everything, and she's an extraordinary actress. She's joining us this Tuesday. Yes, legend, TV icon, Karen Grassley from Little House on the Prairie. She played Ma. She played the mother, Laura Ingalls' mother, and yeah, remember? Really, really cool. And then guess what? On Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, live from Las Vegas, the one and only Clint Holmes, music legend, singer, songwriter, Las Vegas icon. May remember that song that was really popular from the 70s, Playground in My Mind. That was really what launched him. He is extraordinary, and he's going to be with us live on Wednesday. Now, again, this is for the folks that are watching us live right now. If you're watching this a year from now, then these would have already been done. And you can see all of these shows in the Jim Masters TV archives, the Jim Masters Show live on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And if you enjoyed this episode, give it a like. You'll see a little thumbs up icon. Give it a like and leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. We would really appreciate that. That helps us out big time. So give us a like on our YouTube channel and leave a comment on the YouTube channel. Not quite yet. Hang on. That's what happens when you're live. It's our theme music. Not quite yet. Subscribe. Do not forget to subscribe. I know you guys love our theme music and you love when we play it, but we're not ready for it yet. I have a couple more things to say, which is we really appreciate all of you greatly. And it's always a pleasure to have you guys with us. And thanks for all those comments and all the sharing on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Jim Masters TV at all of those locations. And you guys are the best. Kathleen says, great shows coming up as always. Can't wait. Me too. I get just as excited as you guys do. We've got a lot of incredible shows coming up, even though we've done over 550 of them. I don't know if you guys realize that's a lot. That's more than some TV series and Broadway shows last. And we've done that in a year and a half's time. Wow. Going to take some time off a little bit, during Christmas and New Year's, family time and all, but we will still be checking in. We've got a lot of great shows leading up to Christmas as well. This was a great show, Jim. Good night, everyone. And Jim, good night to Jane in Sweden. Joan says, great show. Thank you, Amanda, and Merry Christmas as well. She had a blast. I had a blast. We all had a blast together. Thank you, Jim. Amanda is wonderful. Sherry Larson in Kansas. I agree. Maureen says, what a wonderful show this was. Amanda is simply lovely. Thank you, Jim, for having her. My pleasure. She's absolutely amazing. We really enjoyed it. Kathleen Walker, New York City. Great show. What a treat. Thanks, Jim. My pleasure as well. And everybody watching from all around the world, whether you're watching live or you're watching this in the archives, we thank you very much for being with us. You truly are amazing. Thanks for all the levity, all the comments. Keep spreading the word about our series. We thank Amanda Baker for being with us. She was a hoot. We had a great time together. We'll have her back. And again, you know her from All My Children General Hospital, but she's done so many shows and she's got so much more up her sleeve. And again, married. She is a child and cat and all kinds of wonderful love around her. And she has some really poignant words for those who are considering going into these industries, which I think is really, really spectacular. So good stuff, gang. Merlin says, night, night all. Absolutely. To you guys as well. We thank you very much for being with us here on the Jim Masters Entertainment Lifestyle show, the Jim Masters Show, live with us. And we appreciate you guys being with us who are watching this in the archives. It is about 10 o'clock at night. And I'm finally going to have some dinner. I have not had dinner yet. I'm going to have to sort of change these things around where I got to eat. It was just a very busy day. We were creating about the next 5 episodes of our series. So that takes a lot of work. There's a significant amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to put all of these epic shows together. A lot of things from the production and just everything we do, and then actually doing the shows, booking the guests, doing all the work behind the scenes, and then we come on and then there it is. So we were working on that. And then I had some other professional work in television and radio that we did today as well. So here we are. We're going to have dinner at 10 o'clock at night, Eastern time. We'll just take a Tums afterwards. That's all. We toast all of you. Nothing left to toast with, but there are some strawberries in there too, or a little raspberry. Yeah, no, they're actually raspberries. Little raspberries in there, huh? We toast all of you and we love all of you. And thanks for being with us, gang. We don't say goodbye. We just say see you later. So we'll see you on the next one again tomorrow. For those of you who are watching live, we've got an amazing guest with us live from Ireland. She's been with Celtic Woman, Anunya. She's a brilliant soprano soloist. Katrina Skoldian is going to be with us, and she's very popular, and we're excited. She's all excited too. She's going to be with us as well. Sherry Larson says, sleep well, enjoy your supper. See, if I was in Kansas, we'd be like an hour or so back instead of 10 o'clock at night. This is going to be like a late night supper. Have a great night. Good night. All hugs to you as well. We always, for those who watch later on and they're like, what are all these comments? Well, these are the folks that are watching the show live. And if you ever want to join us live and you want to keep abreast of when our shows are on, then just follow us on the YouTube channel and subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes. The YouTube channel is Jim Masters TV. And the show is the Jim Masters Show Live. And there's that channel right there. Help us grow, share the levity. We appreciate that. Continue to spread the word about our series. You guys are making a difference. We've noticed that in our viewership. We've noticed that in the, there's been a number of folks in the industry, in the media, in the press, in New York, in Hollywood, in the fields of film, music, television, who have been following our show, commenting about our show, praising our series, raving about it. And I'm honored by that. Working in these industries, people are really gravitating to what we're doing here. And that, again, that really gets me here. But also all of you, by spreading the word, the viewers, the consumers of what we're doing have been spreading the word. And really just, you're sort of like our cheerleaders for what we're doing here. And we really, really love you for that. So continue doing that. That's making a difference. And keep watching and viewing and subscribing and commenting and liking on our YouTube channel. That makes a world of difference. It makes us smile so we can share more of that levity. And then we can take you to Zen places like the ocean. And of course, Zen for me is my professional work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years as well. And so much more. So good stuff, gang. Another great show. And you'd be watching the snow tonight, Jim. You guys are the best. And Maureen says, good night, dear lovities. May your dreams be sweet. You as well. You as well. From wherever you're watching around the world, we love you guys. And turtleneck, she had the turtleneck. Cool. It is holiday time here at the Jim Masters Show Live. We've got some other special holiday themed shows with music and concerts and all kinds of cool stuff coming up for you. So look for that. And we just always have a wonderful time with all of you. So we're going to duck out of here just looking at more of these comments that are coming in. We really thank you for them. They mean the world to us, and keep them coming. Have a wonderful day, morning, night, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is when you're watching around the world. We'll see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Be well, be good to one another, and keep watching, and we'll keep delivering entertainment and inspiration, levity, and all the other cool stuff we deliver right here on JMS Live. Love you all. Cheers. Be well. And we'll see you again soon. Take care.